Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Citizen heroes caught on camera hours after an Amber Alert was put out across the state. We'll show you how they rescued the little girl taken by her father.
The city of Bakersfield inches closer to a decision on where to put a new emergency homeless shelter. Two sites up for debate. We'll tell you what residents had to say last night.
Tammy Milchok is backstage at The Voice as season 17 contestants sing their hearts out to win the title. We'll have the highlights from last night's performances. This is Tuesday, December 17th, 2019. Good morning. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. And man, that wind was whipping last night.
You know, it's crazy because on the northwest side of Bakersfield, not even a breeze. Quiet
Really?
as can be. Then I started to, make my way to downtown Bakersfield and then definitely felt the gusty wind. So let's turn things over to Kevin Charette, who's got a look at your wind forecast.
And Maddie was really talking about Tehachapi and not the valley. The winds have been fairly calm all night long for the valley, but it was windy yesterday in the mountains. I have some friends that live in Stallion Springs, and they were saying, wow, it's been windy all day long. A little slow coming for the valley, but we're starting to see those winds pick up now, and they are out of the east-southeast, and that's what the color contour here is indicating, especially in the mountains with the purple, where we're seeing some wind gusts right around 50 miles per hour, and these winds were spreading into the valley. We've already seen a wind gust here in Bakersfield at about 23 miles per hour. So this is going to increase as we go throughout today, and that's why the wind advisory for the valley is in place, and we've extended it even to the west and to the north now until 11 o'clock tonight, and over 400,000 people affected by this wind advisory. And then down to the south, over the Kern County line into Los Angeles and Ventura counties, we have a high wind warning down that way, and over 2,000 people will be affected in that general vicinity. So the winds are definitely expected to pick up. 52 degrees on the temperature right now. Humidity is dropping, 19%, a dew point at 10, and we have an east-southeast wind sustained at 16 miles per hour right now. We are also going to see increasing clouds throughout the morning. Temperatures this afternoon will be in the lower to mid 60s, and you can see those winds will continue. For Tehachapi, 32 degrees right now, a southeast wind at 25 sustained. You could be looking at some winds gusting near 65 miles per hour throughout the afternoon and evening, and you can see temperatures starting out in the 30s and then 40s expected throughout the afternoon with increasing clouds in your area as well. We'll talk much more about this coming up in just a little bit, but first, let's see how the morning commute's going. We're going to send that over to Alex.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. And taking you outside for the first time this morning to the 99 at Airport Drive. And as you can see, it's looking pretty clear on that side of town. Everything else around the county looking great to start off your Tuesday morning. Just keep in mind that the gusty winds could be a little bit of an issue, especially as you're headed over the passes. So CHP is kind of sounding the alarm on that. So keep that in mind if you were going that. If you're going to be traveling in a high-profile vehicle. Actually, this is just coming down right now from CHP off of the 223 near the 58, and it looks like a large tree has fallen into the roadway. So, again, because the winds, this could be an issue throughout the day, so keep that in mind. We'll have another check of your commute coming up in about 15 minutes.
Dramatic cell phone video this morning caught the moment. People at a gas station on the Central Coast teamed up to stop the man police say kidnapped his 2-year-old daughter. You may remember we first told you about the Amber Alert yesterday here on 17 News at Sunrise. Megan Healy has the story of how the man, considered armed and dangerous, was stopped by Good Samaritans.
Dramatic video taken by a Shell gas station employee shows citizens restraining Amber Alert suspect, 24-year-old Victor Magana, until authorities could arrest him. Al Ashcroft, visiting the Central Coast from Oregon, saw the Amber Alert Monday morning about a 2-year-old girl who was taken by her father, Magana, after he allegedly assaulted and stabbed the girl's mother. A few minutes later, Ashcroft spotted the 2007 light green Hyundai Santa Fe right in front of him.
Told my wife, get out. I'm going to block this guy in. And so I moved the car and blocked him in.
He called 911, and nearby men helped restrain the driver.
4 of us just kind of surrounded him and said, you're not leaving.
I'm trying to get my daughter. You can then see Magana repeatedly trying to smash his window with a rock. Deputies say he locked his keys inside the car with the child while making a pit stop in Cambria.
My boss came out and really held him and kept him here.
Witnesses say Magana bought snacks at the store and tried to break into his car to feed his daughter.
He was screaming that he wasn't that guy, that it wasn't him, and his daughter hadn't eaten in 6 hours.
The whole time, the little girl strapped in the front seat.
But she looked at me and smiled, and I thought, okay, she's okay.
Many are praising the people who stepped up to save her.
They were very brave and heroes.
That was Megan Healy reporting. Well, here at home with a new school comes a new name. After months of delay, the Kern High School District Board of Trustees selected a name for the district's 19th high school last night. It will be called Del Oro High School. Del Oro, of course, means of gold in Spanish.
Synonymous with the Golden Empire, the Golden State, and a precious metal, as you know. Those are our students. They're precious. They're top-notch, just like the gold medal. So we think it's all encapsulating, and it's very positive development. We're very excited.
And for the mascot, well, stay tuned. That's still to be determined at a later date. The school will be built, and certainly not of gold, as the name might suggest. At the corner of Panama Lane and Cottonwood Road. Other names in consideration last night were Prosperity, Panama, Victory, and Tacoma. The new high school is expected to open in August 2022.
Concerned citizens had a second chance to weigh in on the proposed sites for a new low-barrier homeless shelter last night. The city of Bakersfield's looking at two potential locations. The original proposal for a site on East Brundage Lane, while the alternative is a site on Brown and East 18th Streets. While most everyone agrees we have a homeless problem, there is no consensus on where to put a shelter. Last night, though, people raised concerns over the Brown site's proximity to residential neighborhoods and its lack of access to the freeway. People also objected to the high price of the Calcott location, but overall were more receptive to that option.
I've heard more support for the Calcott facility. Once people learn what the city plan would be, that we would operate it as a referral-only facility, no walk-ups. There would be private security on site. Once people hear about that and they see what a positive impact it could make for the community, we've been hearing a lot more support.
The city also mentioned an extra 10 acres of land adjacent to the Calcott site that could be used for a police substation or possible low-income housing in the future. The City Council revisits the shelter site issue January 22nd.
Homelessness is not just an issue here in Kern County. It's an issue that touches communities across the state and the nation. Yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court stood behind a ruling that protects the rights of the displaced. The ruling mandates local governments are not allowed to enforce restrictions on public sleeping. That is, unless the local governments provide adequate shelter for every homeless individual. A standard Kern County isn't even close to.
We have between 400 and 500 emergency beds in the county of Kern. That's insufficient for a county the size of Rhode Island. We know there are many more people outside that need a safe place to be than we have resources to provide.
Around town, people we spoke with say that they had mixed reactions to the ruling. Many businesses said their customers don't always want to walk past someone sleeping outside.
There's a new measles scare at Los Angeles International Airport. LA County public health officials say 3 people infected with the virus traveled through the airport earlier this month. Authorities say they were at the airport on December 11th between 6:50 a.m. and noon. They say anyone who was in LAX's terminals 4 and 5 during that time may have been exposed. Anyone who was there and is not fully protected from the virus is encouraged to get a measles vaccine. The disease can develop up to 21 days after exposure.
Just about 24 hours from now, we could see a formal vote on the impeachment of President Trump.
Tracy Potts has more from Capitol Hill on what we can expect.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News with Maddie Jansen, Alex Fisher, and Kevin Charette with your Pinpoint Doppler forecast. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
Tonight, we will learn who the winner is of Season 17 of the hit show on NBC, The Voice.
Tammy Milchok is backstage with more on last night's performances and reaction on the red carpet.
Good morning. It was certainly a night of incredible performances as each of the 4 finalists showed America why they've made it this far.
Katie Caden once again showcased her powerhouse vocals, the Team Legend finalist enjoying another big night on the voice stage.
I had a lot of fun up there. I mean, from the staging to the musicians to everybody, the audience was so gracious, and I could feed off of them in a way, and they could feed off of me, which I just love.
She had gone and wrecked all my plans.
Team Blake's Ricky Duran learned to play guitar in kindergarten, and while that comes easy to him, he was nervous going into the finale.
I was worried about the first song, to be honest, Tom Petty, because in my rehearsals, my voice is pretty tired from working it for months, and that chorus was giving me trouble, and when I went in there, I was like, I really just gotta put myself out there and give it my all to get there.
Jake Hoot is the only country artist in the finale on Team Kelly. Win or lose, he says this has been a life-changing experience.
This has been a whirlwind and something I'm still trying I think I'm still trying to process the blinds, much less the finale. So it's definitely been an incredible ride.
Team Gwen's Rose Short has been singing since the age of 5. She says she's grateful for the opportunity to showcase her talents on a national stage.
I've been doing this a long time, so I just needed the platform so that I can spread my wings.
The winner of season 17 of The Voice will be announced tonight in a 2-hour star-studded finale featuring A-list performances from the Black Eyed Peas, Lady Antebellum, Luke Combs, and Little Big Town, just to name a few. Reporting backstage at The Voice in Los Angeles, I'm Tammy Melchuk.
So jealous she gets to see all those fun performances. That sounds great.
A lot of great voices, too.
All right, we'll see who wins. Still ahead, are you traveling for the holidays?
Well, if you are, consumer reporter Stacey Johnson has some tips on what you should do if your flight gets canceled.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Boeing confirms it will suspend production of its 737 MAX airliner in January. That decision came yesterday. The planes were grounded worldwide in March after 2 crashes killed a total of 346 people. The company said Monday it would shift its focus to delivering aircraft already produced. Boeing said in a statement it is planning for employees to continue 737-related work or be temporarily reassigned. Boeing's statement said no layoffs or furloughs are expected, quote, at this time. Employees have been concerned about just that.
Honestly, it's overwhelming, but that news is kind of nice. So, it gives me a sense of peace that, I'm not getting laid off.
It shocks me there's not going to be a furlough. I don't know how they're going to pull that one off, but, it's pretty good of Boeing, really. It keeps people working, and that's a good thing.
The Machinists Union says it has received no details of workforce movement, nor a date the production suspension will start or how long it will last. Goldman Sachs won't finance new oil projects in the Arctic. It's the first big U.S. bank to make the pledge. The move is part of a change to the bank's environmental policies. The restrictions rule out projects in Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Goldman Sachs says the funding freeze extends to new thermal coal mines and power plant development around the world. The bank also announced a commitment to invest $750 billion over the next 10 years into areas that focus on climate transition and inclusive growth. Amazon's no longer letting its third-party sellers use Fedex ground delivery to ship Prime packages. This change could potentially increase costs for both small business owners on the site and customers. An email from the company to retailers noted the change was because of performance declines in shipping for these orders. However, retailers can still use more expensive shipping options through FedEx for orders. Back in September, Amazon stopped using FedEx for its own deliveries. This was after FedEx announced it would let its ground shipping contract with Amazon expire. Bad weather and flight cancellations, it's a risk every holiday traveler faces. While it hopefully won't happen to you, it pays to be prepared. So here was some advice on what to do if your flight is canceled. Money expert Stacey Johnson.
You know what canceled flights look like. Crowded terminals and people sleeping on the floor. But do you know what to do if your flight gets canceled? You should, because it happens to thousands of people every year. First, whenever you're about to fly, get the airline's app and sign up for flight alerts. The sooner you learn of a problem, the better. Next, the instant you learn your flight is canceled, hit 2 lines. The one at the customer service counter and your phone line. Call that 800 number. Your goal is obviously to get rebooked on your current carrier or maybe another one. Now, airlines aren't required to book you on another airline, but some will if you ask, especially if you're a good customer. And when you're doing this, try to be as flexible as you can. Try other airports close to where you are and other airports close to where you're going. And you might consider alternate transportation. Check Amtrak, buses, even rental cars. But if you head for that rental car counter, be sure and ask about fees for dropping off in distant cities or additional mileage charges. And finally, be aware if your flight is canceled due to weather or something else that's beyond the airline's control, because they're not really required to do anything in those situations except exert a reasonable effort to rebook you. They don't have to pay for your hotel. They don't have to pay for any of your meals or any other expenses either, which is why you should never leave home with a maxed out credit card. Bottom line, when you're jammed up by the weather, the best thing you can do is move fast on alternatives and consider staying home next winter. I've got lots more information on every facet of flying. It's waiting for you at MoneyTalksNews.com. Just do a search for flights. For Money Talks News, I'm Stacey Johnson. Money Talks is brought to you by your local consumer credit counseling service. If you've got debt problems or just want some free budget counseling, call today.